the chemistry was gone because I don't think we could stand each other. We were going at it. We were like nose and nose.
The fuse was lit. An explosion was on the countdown.
That's it. F this, F it, F it, F it, F it.
There were some deep emotions.
The fans really wanted the old Shalamar.
It was there. It was constantly tension, constant drama.
We were young, stupid, full of ourselves.
How many egos can you fit in a limo? None.
Uncompromised, unrecognized, unparalleled, unsung. The story of Shalamar. March 2nd, 1988, New York City.
And the winner is Jody Watley.
Jody Watley takes the stage at Radio City Music Hall to be honored with a Grammy Award for Best New Artist.
Come back. Get over.
But Watley was anything but a new artist. For nearly 10 years, she sang alongside Howard Hewitt and Jeffrey Daniel in the dance hit machine, Shalamar.
Man, we played everywhere. We played Radio City Music Hall, we played the arenas, we played everywhere, all over the place.
In the early 80s, Shalamar's hits were FM staples that spawned a dance craze.
At first, it was called the backslide. It would be later named the moonwalk by some famous entertainer.
We had something very special that the people connected with.
It all looked like they were going to another level. They were going from being stars to superstars.
But verging on its peak success, Shalamar fell to pieces. First Jody and Jeffrey, and finally Howard walked away while the band's biggest hits played on the radio. Shalamar fans were left with only their cherished LPs and one echoing question: what happened?
All groups over a period of time come apart. Groups have problems. You know, that is how it is. And Shalamar had more problems than the other groups had.
I know you come a long way, baby, but you don't need that heart of stone, no.
Shalamar began their hit parade in the late 70s.
Do it, baby. You can make it on your own.
But it might never have existed without a very special TV show called Soul Train.
The first one let you down.
Back in Ohio, like Soul Train was a ritual. You know, every Saturday at 12 noon, you were in front of that TV watching Soul Train.
Suddenly, you saw young black kids looking cool and doing what I love to do, and that's dance.
Glamorous and fun, Soul Train lit the fire for many aspiring stars.
I was in the Midwest at the time, and it was my dream to go and dance on Soul Train. They had the best dancers, the best fashion. I want to go to Los Angeles. I want to go to Hollywood so I can be on Soul Train.
I was born and raised in Los Angeles, California, and it's like Soul Train was just like, wow, to me. I just had to get on that program.
Our family moved to Los Angeles, and it really was fate, you know, for me. I would go up and sneak in. The floor manager would yell, you know, hey, you, get out of here. And I would ride the bus home. I would cry and be so disappointed, but determined that I'm going back.
My friend Tyrone Proctor, who's a Soul Train dancer, the first time he took me there, they said, okay, well, he can get in, but he can't dance, just sit down. And I found the chance to get up, and I danced anyway, so. Jody went on Soul Train just a bit before me. Then eventually Jody became my dance partner. I think we just had a good chemistry with each other. And around the time we were dancing together, we were actually boyfriend and girlfriend as well.
From the musical stew of early 70s funk and soul emerged a new dance floor flavor, disco. Soul Train was the perfect setting for this new dance sound to flourish.
It was where America was learning how to dance. If you wanted to be cool, you were looking like the kids on Soul Train. You were dancing like the kids on Soul Train.
Disco's simplicity and mass appeal looked like dollar signs to the Soul Train execs.
Don Cornelius of Soul Train and I were partners, and I suggested we should start a record company. So that's what we did. We cut a theme song for Soul Train by a group that we called the Soul Train Gang, but was made up of young people from Soul Train.
But the theme song became a minor hit and put Soul Train Records on the map. Not long after, an obscure producer approached Griffey with a catchy disco track.
It was a song called Uptown Festival that an independent producer brought to us and said, would you like to put this out? So we said, yeah.
That's what was happening with disco a lot at the time. The producer was Simone Susan. I think a lot of producers went in the studio, hired singers, and just put a name on it and put it out there, and that's how Shalamar actually started. That's why we have the name Shalamar from the producer Simone Susan. He's from Morocco or something, so it's like this Middle Eastern name, you know.
So Shalamar was born, not as a band, but as a song.
There was no group. So we contacted a singer by the name of Gary Mumford, who actually recorded the song.
Impressively, Soul Train Records struck gold again with Uptown Festival. Sensing opportunity, Dick decided to pair Gary with two dancers to complete the new group.
We just took Jeffrey and Jody from the television show and said, now you'll be members of this group called Shalamar.
They have this hit record, and a record that they believe in, and now they need an act behind it. And that's when they called me in.
I was still in high school, and it was like, this is great. I got $500, which back then and at that age, you think, you know, oh my gosh, you know, I'm rich. You know, I have $500.
Dick Griffey saw potential in Shalamar. Don Cornelius did not.
He wanted out, so I ended up buying him out. And that's when we went from Soul Train to Solar. Sound of Los Angeles Records.
Almost immediately, Dick faced another difficulty. He lost Shalamar's lead singer.
Gary wouldn't tour. I think he wanted to be a minister. So I put this gentleman by the name of Gerald Brown in the group.
It wasn't the only member change Dick was considering.
Dick Griffey assumed that I couldn't sing. And when I heard that they were looking at another girl, I was like, no way. Wait a minute, I can sing.
In 1978, with the debonair Gerald Brown in the lead and the inexperienced but tenacious Watley and Daniel in the background, Shalamar finally recorded their first record as a real group.
Disco Gardens is Take That to the Bank, which was, I guess, our second hit single, but the first one that I actually sang on. Take that to the bank. Take that to the bank. Sing it, feel it, that interest in our love. Take that to the bank.
Take That to the Bank made it to 79 on the pop charts, which was enough to keep the lights on at Solar Records. But there was friction with the new lead singer.
They were on the road touring, and Gerald Brown called up to say that he wanted the majority of the money.
I did understand where he was coming from, because it's like, you have these two kids, you know, and I've been doing this for a while, and, you know, I should get more.
And he said his famous words, when Dick Griffey is ready to deal with me, give me a call. He's been waiting on that call ever since.
In 2 years, Shalamar gained 2 hits and lost 2 lead singers. The third time would be the charm, but it wouldn't come easy.
For whatever reason, we didn't hit it off right away. The respect wasn't always there.
Shalamar put hits on the charts in both 1977 and 78. But for the third time in its short life, the group was searching for a lead singer. As it happened, their salvation was just on the other side of town, singing at a local hotspot.
This is Mavericks Flat. This is where, when I first got out here in 1976, a couple months after I got out here, I came down to Mavericks Flat. This was the place to be, man. I mean, they had all kind of time. You could look out in the audience and the Mavericks at any time. You see Richard Pryor, you see Shaka, you see all kind of people here. And yeah, there's a lot of, hey, there's Shalamar, right? Uh-huh. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Crenshaw, man. I love it down here. I love it down here. I was born and raised in Akron, Ohio. At about 10 years old, my mom discovered that I could, you know, carry a note. We formed the Hewitt Singers, and she literally kicked me out on stage the first time I got out there. And after I got out there, I was like, you know, this isn't bad at all. We did that until I was about 18, 19 years old. Then I went to LA.
I knew Howard Hewitt at Mavericks Flat. I was down there dancing and DJing, and he would come on with his group Beverly Hills and he would sing. So I was a fan of his already.
We are on the corner of Sunset Boulevard and Argyle, which this is the Motown building. I came here to have a meeting with a producer at Motown, and the phone rang, right? And it's Jeffrey Daniel, and they had some kind of whatever with Gerald Brown. So Jeffrey says, we want you in the group as lead singer. You know, he said, you're at the Motown building, right? And I said, yeah. And he said, well, Solar has an office in that same building.
Howard happened to be in the building where my office was at the time. And I called him in, and he sang a few bars of Feel the Fire by Peabo Bryson.
Got through the first verse, half the hook, and Dick says, okay, I'll be right back.
Gave him $500 to put in his pocket and a plane ticket and sent him to New York.
You gotta practice the lip sync and the choreography to take that to the bank, because Monday you have a TV show to do.
A long time we stayed together, been through the roughest weather, you and I.
No wonder I saw the moves over there. You danced together before.
Yeah.
And you're the new kid on the block.
Right.
How'd you feel coming into an established group?
It was hard work, but it was nice. It's very nice.
No, but you sing so great.
Thank you.
Really good.
With the newly finalized lineup, Shalamar headed to the studio with budding producer Leon Silvers to record Big Fun, their third LP.
I just was thinking it's going to work. Howard was a great lead singer, and Jody had a great tone. At that time, she was more talented than she realized. So at that point, I knew what I had.
When we came together for Shalamar, it was just a perfect combination, the perfect chemistry.
You can't keep running away from love, 'cause the first one lets you down, and the other tried to satisfy you, baby. With me, true love can still be fine. The second time around, gonna keep your mind the second time, baby.
The second second time around, raced up the pop charts and landed at #8.
Just as long as I'm with you.
Jeffrey's whole, visual thing, Jody's whole visual and vocal situation, the combination of Jody's and my vocal together was even something that stood out as far as the group was concerned.
Musically, Howard clicked with Shalamar, but on a personal level, things got off on the wrong foot.
Howard and I, for whatever reason, we didn't hit it off right away. Being the only girl, being a little younger, the respect wasn't always there.
She's a beautiful girl. I might even try to hit on her, I think, at the time, but it was, I think, a good fit. When I first got there, I remember we had a thing about all the choreography, because, see, Jeffrey and Jody are dancers. And so, they had me doing all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And by the time I get up to the microphone, I'm like, out of breath.
When Shalamar started, Jody and I were boyfriend and girlfriend. And then around '79, we broke up. There wasn't no friction or no tension or anything like that. But then again, there was tension.
In addition to internal squabbles, differences with Dick Griffey took root.
He always would say, Jeffrey and Jody, you guys are just the dancers, It's a bad impression of his voice, but it just seemed right from the start he didn't see Jeffrey and I on the same level as any lead singer that would be in the group.
To my memory, Dick Griffey encouraged me as a singer. Dick Griffey encouraged me as a songwriter. There is a true side of that, but it wasn't as far as our talents was concerned. When it came to monies and business, I can say that's true.
I didn't know if Jody, Jeffrey could. So I had no idea that these three would turn out to be this group with such charisma.
Either way, Shalamar's success was expanding, but the musical wave that swept them up was now headed for the rocks.
I'm not a big fan of the disco era. People always get on me about when I say that, but I couldn't stand disco. This is a house that Dick Griffey built, Solar Towers. It just stands out. It's like nothing around here like that, you know what I mean? The whole Solar thing was up there. State-of-the-art studio, rehearsal rooms, and all that kind of stuff. Shalamar, Whispers, Lakeside, we all built this thing. At the time, it wouldn't be unusual for there to be like 5 or 6 Solar singles on the charts at the same time,
In the late '70s, both Shalamar and Solar Records rode disco's popularity to success. But disco's days were numbered.
Rock music being, the institution that it is, it was kind of, this is taking over our, rock music, burn those disco records. So it was a whole movement, disco sucks, we hate disco or whatever. But, disco music actually provided a great outlet for people to get dressed up and go out and dance and have a good time.
In 1980, Shalamar released 3 for Love. Musically, it broke from their familiar disco sound, most notably on the soulful hit, This Is for the Lover in You.
The tune For the Lover in You is such an important tune. I believe, too, as far as Shalamar was concerned, in Shalamar's progression. Because For the Lover in You took Shalamar out of that whole dance group, the dance group Shalamar, the disco group Shalamar.
The sounds that Leon Silvers was bringing to us and the songs that we were doing at that time started to get more substance. So they weren't just like light dance songs.
The 1981 LP, Go For It, produced only a brief visit to the R&B charts with Sweeter as the days go by. but it furthered the group's distance from their disco roots.
I said, you guys, we got to stop dressing up like the matching suits, like the Temptations and the Jacksons and stuff. That stuff is not cool anymore.
The new wave era was very influenced by, you know, the new wave of British artists, Britpop. Bands like Duran Duran, Thompson Twins. That means new direction.
The new direction became apparent on the 1982 LP Friends. With new threads and a new synth pop sound, Shalamar scored a top 10 hit with A Night to Remember, despite a perplexing video.
When you love someone, it's natural, not demanding. And that's one thing I'm proud to say I found in you. I'm so glad we reached an understanding. Now I know my heart is safe with you.
I really don't even remember what the whole plot was, or if there was a plot. You know, Jody and I were hooked up, and Jeffrey was the waiter that kept getting in between. I don't know what the whole concept of the video was.
I hated that video. I hated the end scene where I had to jump on the bed with the two guys.
I was the chairman of the Black Music Association, and MTV wouldn't allow African-American artists to do MTV. That's how much the times have changed. We actually had to threaten boycott of MTV to get Michael Jackson on. He was the first one. And the second one was Shalamar.
Friends was also a massive success in the UK, where it dominated the British pop charts with 3 top 10 hits.
When we got over to the UK, and we just did this massive tour, and like they kept adding on dates and kept adding on dates and adding on dates, and then at the end of the tour, we sold out Wembley Arena. We cried on stage, and we just saw that audience, and we were just like, to feel that we have actually had that kind of an acceptance.
I thought they had superstardom written all over them. They were a unique act. Sex appeal and charisma, I thought they had the whole package.
You begin to see a profile of where the group is going. And, you know, what was happening internationally and what was happening in the United States, it all looked like they were going to another level. They were going from being stars to superstars.
Not surprisingly, the budding superstars began to look closely at their bank accounts.
I'm not making any money from this. From touring, you know, 365 days a year, but not one royalty, nothing. And I started feeling like we were being taken advantage of. I was being taken advantage of. And no amount of fame or popularity can smooth that over.
Dick, you know, I'm trying to buy a house here. Y'all want to buy houses now. Y'all dancing on Soul Train for free yesterday. We didn't have enough money to buy cars. We were leasing a car through Dick Griffey's leasing agent. So see, we didn't own nothing.
Artists have real demented ideas about what's out there. Howard Hewitt told me one time, man, I ain't getting no royalty check. I said, Howard, well, I just gave you $1 million advance. What do you mean you ain't getting no royalties? I mean, advance means royalties in advance. You know, you have to recoup what you received in the cost of your records.
The tension also spread to the group itself.
Howard had a talk with Jody and myself, and he told us, well, I'm the leader of the group. And Jody and I looked at him and said, excuse me, leader of the group? There's no leader to the group.
It started to get really fatiguing to not be respected and to be told that, you know, you're just a dancer and you can be replaced. And it wasn't really healthy because I don't think that anyone should ever be in a situation where they get conditioned that they're not of value.
We were young, stupid, full of ourselves, you know, and that's when we needed somebody else in that higher position to refocus us. But we didn't have anybody like that.
I think the guys wanted to have a certain control over me. The more I pushed back, the more tense things got.
Everybody's With rollbacks on thousands of your favorite items, summer costs less at Walmart. Save money, live better, Walmart.
For insurance, Allstate's got a great rep. But for price, it's a different perception. Truth is, people who switch their home and car insurance to Allstate save $503. Think it's just hype? Call them on it.
You've been influenced by many, but defined by none. A masterful fusion of functionality and design, presenting the Toyota Venza. It exemplifies all of you. So ask yourself, are you Venza?
The twist you can't resist. Imagine one eye drop so exceptional it relieves 7 symptoms. New Visine Totality Multi-Symptom. Now reduce the red, bathe the dry and gritty, soothe the itch, irritated, burning, and watery. Visine Totality. No other drop does more.
My taste, my flavor, for me to choose. My waistline, baby, nothing to lose.
Flavor left, taste right, fresh toast me with 9 grain. Nice.
Sweet peppers.
What?
The best. Makes me flex my chest.
Flavor's the word at Subway. Try the new Tuscan Chicken Melt. Seasoned chicken strips, melted cheese, olive vinaigrette, and your choice of crisp veggies. At 9 grams of fat, it's part of a Subway Fresh Fit meal.
Subway. Eat fresh.
The battle for clean clothes is won with the stain-lifting power of all. Choose all and win the battle.
They had their 15 minutes of fame.
Lights and cameras, it's not as easy as it looks.
Now what?
There's one person that tells you you're talented. There is a crowd of 1 million that tells you that you don't have it.
Life After, this September on TV One. TV One celebrates 50 years of Motown.
In Japan. And I like the pace in Japan. You get things done. I come to shrines and I pray. It's a sacred place, a place of worship. I consider it a blessing to travel as a member of Shalamar, travel as a musician, because there are people who have to save up for a long time just to go on a vacation. And I'm being paid to perform for the people, so I make it a point to meet people, to see what's happening in that culture. And I think that's what's trapped me overseas.
Shalamar's music always did well overseas, and the 1982 LP Friends created a huge boost in enthusiasm, especially in the UK. Appearance offers flooded in, but Shalamar declined.
It was a difficult time. We all were dealing with personal things. I was trying to piece together what was left of my first marriage, which didn't work out anyway, so, you know, because we're on the road. We're on the road all the time.
Touring was off the table for Jody, too, who decided to have a baby.
They said that that I would ruin the group if I had a baby, and I was under a lot of pressure to not go through with my pregnancy. And you know, I'm glad that I did, because she's a fantastic young lady. That's all I'm saying on the subject.
With Howard mending his marriage and Jody on maternity leave, there was only one Shalamar player ready to hit the road.
I ended up sending Jeffrey Daniels overseas to promote the record, and Shalamar became huge.
Jeffrey agreed to appear solo on the British music show Top of the Pops to showcase his new hairdo and his infectious new dance style.
I hadn't realized that they had never seen the Soul Train dances up until then. And the first time that they saw the backslide, they'd never seen anything like that, and it just totally blew them away.
In fact, Jeffrey pioneered a dance move that went on to dominate the 80s.
It would be later named the moonwalk by some famous entertainer, the king of pop. But then it was still called the backslide.
After a victory lap through Europe, Jeffrey returned to the States. But time apart did not settle Shalamar's conflicts. They reluctantly gathered in 1983 to record their 7th record, again with Leon Silvers at the helm.
We have to stay hungry if the songs aren't going to make themselves hits. If you want to maintain that Benz, that house, that condo, that money in the bank, you know, you have to really treat it as a business now.
He was a taskmaster, man. I mean, we get in there and just do something over and over and over and over again, you know.
Leon's moxie pushed Shalamar to create The Look, an album that took the group's synth pop sound to the extreme.
He knew that that new wave thing was happening, and it was kind of risky and kind of brave for Shalamar, because for an R&B and soul group to get into this new synth thing is a bold step to take.
But Jeffrey's heart was still in the UK, where his solo pops debut made him a commodity. So he left the States again.
We were completing the Look album, but I left the group. I'm in London doing a movie with Paul McCartney, give my regards to Broad Street. But my lawyer tells me, well, Jeffrey, you know, you're still on contract. You can't just leave like that. You know, Dick can sue you. You're obligated to promote the album. I said, okay, if they come to the UK, I'll promote it.
Shalamar gathered in the UK to promote The Look and shoot a video for Dead Giveaway, their promising new single. But on the day of the video shoot, Shalamar came unglued.
Howard and I ended up getting into a confrontation. I don't remember what triggered the altercation, but we were going at it. We were like nose and nose, and it was such an ugly scene. It was ridiculous, and I said, you know, that's it. I'm quitting, not doing the video. F this, F it, F it, F it, F it.
Mr. Griffey called me and said, I've got to get this video done. I had no idea that the group was in turmoil. No idea. And I'm told that Jody and Jeffrey refused to be on the same set with Howard. I had to so delicately communicate that we have to.
breakout project, but then we broke up.
My dad died suddenly, and it really was something that changed my life and how I live it. And I just thought, I don't want to spend another day in this situation with all these negative things going on.
I had one last interview, and they sat down. So, tell me about Shalamar. And I'm sitting there like, it's over. And this journalist's mouth dropped. He says, what do you mean? I said, I'm done. I'm finished with Shalamar.
Dick Griffey was asking, you know, what do you want, Wally? You know, you want to do a solo record or something? And I said, no. You know, and they were saying what they wanted, and he kept asking me, like, what is it? And I just said, I just don't want to be here.
At the peak of the group's success, the two original members walked away. But Shalamar refused to die.
Dancing in the Sheets just blew up. It was like an immediate success.
You do get a hint of drinkability right away.
Does my pen have writability?
Come on, people, we gotta focus. We're not leaving until we've met our budget. We need ideas.
We could cut back on marketing.
We could eliminate bonuses. How about we stop buying Bud Light for every meeting?
It's the only beer with just the right taste. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
It was a joke!
Right now at Red Lobster, discover 2 new summer-inspired creations fresh from our wood-fired grill. Like our new wood-grilled lobster and sweet and spicy shrimp. With flame-seared Maine lobster, tender jumbo shrimp, and crunchy coconut shrimp. Or our new wood-grilled shrimp and scallops with a hint of golden honey and tangy lemon. The flavors of summer are at their peak. For a limited time at Red Lobster.
The LensCrafters 50% off my lenses sale. Now with any frame purchase, take 50% off the lenses you need. Any lenses, including bifocals, no lines, and prescription sun. The 50% off my lenses sale ends July 18th. Only at LensCrafters.
I know what you need. Find Mulholland Overlook.
When you can have it all, why shouldn't you? The new 2009 Lincoln MKS. Mad Crazy Love is back. Meet us for more at Lincoln.com.
The parole board decided to release Donnie Rose.
In a battle between revenge and forgiveness.
Got a lot of bullshit on your face here.
I want him to pay what he done to my boy.
Danny Glover.
I ain't doing this for you.
And Flex Alexander.
The boy better bring it.
Fight in a poor boy's game. Next on TV1.
My name is